Hi, my name's Steve Haugaard, former Speaker of the House. I wanted to give you a quick example of what the costs are associated with bad corrections policy. This example is based on a client that I dealt with for several years actually in different situations, but it's an individual who had an excellent chance at getting out and succeeding. He had gone through a fair amount of counseling and guidance, spiritual guidance while he's in the penitentiary. Life changed for him a lot. And when he was planning on getting out, he had been involved in mentoring other inmates to get them through their GED programs. He was on task. He had good testimonials from the paid staff that was actually coming to do education and several other staff members and his counselor and so on. He had an excellent chance for getting out and succeeding, but he didn't have an effective reentry program or a rigorous parole supervision. He ended up returning to prison. And just an estimate of the costs, and I can do this based on my personal experience over the years in cases and being on the appropriations committee and seeing all the numbers that are associated with medical costs and that sort of thing. I would estimate that between child support that went, because he went back in the penitentiary, child support that went unpaid for 4 kids, there were support costs, DSS costs, Medicaid costs. I estimate that, and I think conservatively, at $180,000. On top of that, one of his kids then developed their own addiction problems, and they have several children of their own now, and the son-in-law in that situation is also incarcerated. So just a number of consequences that unfold from this. So $180,000 in Medicaid costs. He obtained a welding certification. That's gone unused. Approximately 4 new criminal offenses, minor things, relatively minor things, mostly assaults, and ended up with aggravated assaults. And I would say that those hospitalization costs associated with the assaults, probably $20,000. Law enforcement plus the risk to law enforcement, I'm estimating at $5,000 given the several circumstances, and just trying to identify what would it cost for the contact time and incarceration, taking them to jail, booking, and all that sort of thing. The jail costs pending trial, and in this case, I think he pled to all these charges ultimately. Incarceration costs in jail, about $20,000. Criminal defense costs, these being pleas as opposed to actually trials, probably $4,000 worth of criminal defense costs through public defenders. Prosecution costs, probably another $4,000. Judge and court staff costs, pretrial investigations, all those kinds of things, probably another $4,000. And then incarceration costs in the prison itself, I would estimate at $100,000 given the amount of time that was added on to his sentences. And then future parole supervision costs, I estimate only at about $5,000 because there just isn't enough money put into that. So you pool all that together and you're looking at about $333,000. And I think my estimates are probably relatively low, but about $333,000 for just one example. And this is not unusual. This isn't out of the ordinary for these individuals, but about $333,000 for this one person. And the social cost is absolutely unmeasurable. Had any of these assaults turned into something more serious, it would be devastating for lots of individuals, but just this alone has changed the lives of he and his family and his grandchildren. And so those are the costs associated with just one case where adequate supervision, post-release, adequate reentry would have made a world of difference. So those are things to consider when you're talking about the recidivism rates and the actual cost to society. Thanks.